I am more than my physical body. Because I am more than physical matter, I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world. I deeply desire to expand, to experience, to know, to understand, to control, to use such greater energies and energy systems as may be beneficial and constructive to me and to those who follow me. I deeply desire the help and cooperation, the assistance, the understanding of those individuals whose wisdom, development, and experience are equal to or greater than my own. I ask their guidance and protection from any influence or any source that might provide me with less than my stated desires.
Do not know all the answers to the questions about reality. Do not claim to know the ultimate truth about life. I seek that which has been made hidden as a part of a family that explores consciousness. I love women.
Welcome to Lighting the Void.
Broadcasting live from a shack on a hill in the Mossy Creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. This is Lighting the Void live, and we are live on this July the 9th, 2024. Sorry it took so long, but we're doing a back-to-back double header. That's what we're doing. So I was on Owen Hunt's show. He's going to be on this show tonight, and we're going to talk the Kybalion, reality transurfing, metaphysics, and more. That's what we're going to be talking about. So strap in. We'll also continue. I don't think we'll get to it tonight. That's a possibility. Depends on how long Owen stays with us. But after that, we will get back into the mystical Kabbalah and get back into our studies, right? It's not me being lazy, honestly. Well, there's a small part of it. It's me being lazy, reading books online. But also, I feel like once I read these books, I can just, when people ask questions, I can be like, hey, just go watch that video, right? Like, that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm doing it. So it's going to be a long process to finish the mystical Kabbalah, but it's going to be worth it. And you're going to understand a lot about the Kabbalah. But tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the Kybalion, okay? And so Owen Hunt is with us. He just invited me onto his show. He didn't know he was coming on this show, but I like to balance things out. So he's here with us, and might as well just bring him on. What's up, brother? Let the good times roll, man. We got to let this stuff continue. That's the way I look at it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, brother, for sure.
Hell
for
yeah.
Sure. So you put a fresh copy out of the Kybalion out there. Is it in the audio world only, or is it ebook too, or what?
Yeah. I made it. I tried to make it as accessible as possible. I mean, I even put it on YouTube. You know, if you want it without ads, I got it on Patreon there. But it's on Audible. It's on Spotify, Everand, iTunes, all the major platforms as well. But it's also there on YouTube. You know, I just wanted to make the information maybe a little bit easier to understand, a little bit more palatable, a little bit more contemporary, because I really believe in that book. But it was always kind of tricky to read, honestly.
What is it that's tricky about it? What do you think that? What do you? I mean, what do you think that throws people off the most?
Well, it's the whole like mystical Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great of greatest great, who lived for 300 years. You know, it's like, dude, come on, man, you're really hyping this up. And don't get me wrong, the information in the book is fantastic. It's really, and they tell you in the preamble, the idea is to reunite all knowledge systems, because the principles themselves, that's what's important in the knowledge systems, not who this figure was or what date this happened or whether we should eat this meat or that meat, right? It's none of that. It's these principles, these natural law, spiritual principles that are in operation in the world. And so I think it's a very pivotal and transformational book. It's also maybe a little tough to read and maybe a little challenging to read. So I wanted to see if I could simplify some of the concepts and put it out there if it's helpful to people. I think, from a production standpoint, it's my best work yet. And I think I did a pretty okay job translating it. I'll give myself
You give yourself a good score?
I give myself a pretty, give myself a pretty good score. I enjoyed making it. It made me learn a lot, like, I mean, I said this somewhere, but I was like, even if nobody likes it, they hate it, nobody ever listens to it, I learned a lot making it. So it was worth it from that standpoint, because, you take something that's kind of high thought and try to make it simpler. That I think that's what a good teacher would try to do, or someone who's relaying information or synthesizing it.
Yeah.
What have you?
Yeah, make it easy for everybody to understand. Yeah.
That's my goal. That's why I call the show Blue Collar Mystics. You're a prime example of that. And that's why I call it Blue Collar Mystics, because, I get to hang out with you and we talk about this stuff and make it, absolutely approachable, as opposed to like, I'm so smart. Look how smart I am because I know all this shit.
Yeah.
And I got my, tools and my whatever. It's all kind of a show. We're all learning, and I love your approach. You're very much a blue collar mystic.
Yeah, man. Blue collar is a good term for me, I would say. I've worked for myself for a long time, but in my whole life I've worked as a bartender, a painter, dude, I could go down all the scrub jobs I've done, but you know what? Each job that I've done where I've put in energy and time, right? Like that Zen thing. I've also thought about all this stuff while I was working all those quote blue collar jobs, I thought about all this stuff. Matter of fact, I think they threw me off the car lot because I wouldn't shut up about it when I was in car sales. I'm like, why are you guys lying to everybody? And it's like, they're like, we're making more money than you. And I'm like, yeah, but why are you lying? Like, what's the point? It's just funny that you call it blue collar mystics. I think it's perfect. It's the perfect name for it.
I mean, I grew up in West Georgia, man. Everybody was doing meth. If I need to be able to talk to somebody who just changed their radiator about, Melchizedek, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of world that I want to live in, is a more practical one. I'm just trying to honestly take concepts that have helped me and see if I can make them a little easier to understand for other people. That's my general, MO, is that what they call it? Modus operandi or whatever.
So people can grab this book anywhere, like you just said. So we have the stages, and I have them pulled up here, of the 7 Hermetic principles, which this whole book covers, or pretty much. But so you've got mentalism, polarity, vibration, rhythm, cause and effect, gender, and correspondence, and not necessarily in that order. Do you think that these, in my opinion, these things do work in an order, but I could be wrong. Do you
Honestly,
think they do work in
the
an order
way that
or
the
not?
Kybalion has it laid out, in my opinion, like the good shit is at the end.
Yeah, I think so.
It's like the best stuff is chapter 14, and 15, in my opinion. And that's the principle of mental gender. So that's applying the law of gender to mentalism, which separates the consciousness into two parts, the I and the me. The I being the static observer and the me being the mental womb or the emotional mind.
Sure.
Understanding those two distinctions is what allows us to leverage will and actually create things and have a little bit more control over our mood, our mental states, and then we're more at the cause. That's really a lot of the book right there. Cause and effect being huge. All these laws are things that we see over and over in nature. And mentalism being the primary one, which is basic common sense when you think about it, right? Like everything starts as a thought first and then it's physical.
Yeah.
If it becomes physical.
Yeah. Everything isn't a spark of an idea before it even gets a blueprint, before it even comes into existence. Yeah.
Right. And all that stuff is already exists, right? Because infinity is real. So like all those ideas, they already exist in like the ether. So it's just a matter of bringing them into physicality.
It's funny too, because I watched this short video today of this guy making fun of manifestation. Basically, he put on this helmet called manifestation. He's like, I don't need to work a job. I don't need to do this. I'm going to manifest everything. Bzz, kind of making fun of the new age people that talk like that. And I thought, I get where he's coming from, because there's a lot of woo in the ideas of manifestation. However, if this guy really looked at the top echelons of money making and manifestation in the world, they all go with these principles, every single one of them. Like if you've ever been into a board meeting, I don't know how many people have, but I have. Wasn't supposed to be there, but I have, right? They use every single principle. Every single principle is used, and they manifest exactly to the one. Got it. The higher echelons of people got it down so good that they know as long as they stick to the systems of things that they're going to be fine, because humans are that predictable. Nature is that predictable once you tap into it,
Well, and the higher vibration has the momentum, because the universe is moving upward, even if it doesn't seem like it, and resolving into one. And so higher activity is higher vibration. Lower activity is lower vibration. The universe favors higher activity and higher vibration because it's on that momentum, on that trajectory already anyway, going up toward the unification of one. There's so many great ideas in that book, and it's so freaking dense already. And I think I made it a little easier to understand, but also it's more dense. So sorry, I don't know.
Whatever, dude. I'm stoked about it.
It's dense, but but the principles, the ideas, that's what matters. And you hear a lot of people talk about natural law, and that's generally what they're referring to as the Kybalion. I think William Walker Atkinson probably wrote it. That's the rumor. But it's the anonymous three Masons sort of lore story around it, and all the preamble and stuff where they talk about how normies are swine. I left that part out because I didn't feel like it was important. But
normies are swine. What's up with that?
Yeah, dude. If you listen to the original work, which I also have on my YouTube channel too, the preamble is just talking about casting pearls as swine.
Oh,
and how,
yeah.
Remember that part? But they literally, I mean, it's a great book. I think the principles are universal. And specifically that mental gender. And the idea of the book is alchemy, right? Which they say is like turning lead into gold or whatever. But what that really means is that it's really transmuting negative emotions into positive ones. And you do that through the law of mental gender by identifying with higher and higher levels of the I, and coming out of the me awareness, the me consciousness. You're going to resolve those two, right? Ironically, by separating them, you unite them because everything's a paradox. But that's the general idea of what mental transmutation or alchemy is.
It's funny too, because everybody's got their own. So Carl Jung has psychological alchemy, and then they have spiritual alchemy. Then there's the energetic alchemy of transformation. And the thing about alchemy that I think is so cool is that the stages of alchemy work on all of the different systems that people try to put them down to, right? Whether so it's if it's spagyrics, if it's like plants, those stages work in plants. If it's metals, those stages work in metals. If it's psychology, they work in psychology, right? So like this is the cool thing. Like if it's energy, then it's obviously something that is observable, and this is why I think it is like a science, even though it's Neil deGrasse Tyson obviously would say it's not, but it is if it's observable in everything.
Well, I mean, a lot of the stuff that the Kybalion talked about in the early 1900s, science is now proving with experiments.
Yeah.
It even talks about how like atoms are made, and that's a whole fun rabbit hole right there, just the way the masculine and feminine operate in it, and how basically the masculine aspect of proton will impress upon an impression of the feminine electron that spins around it, right, and like brings it into its orbit. It like makes it vibrate at some certain level or something. You know, it's crazy the way it talks about some of these more simple ideas. And what I wanted to really try to do was try to stay true to the examples that it used and try to modernize that. But there's a bunch of great examples that you can look at right there and see, holy shit, you know, this is stuff that was speculative back in the 1900s, but now science is actively proving a lot of this.
We like to think that because that stuff comes from a long time ago that those people were stupid.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, they were dumb and more primitive. It's like, are you sure? I don't know about that. I mean, we may be more dumbed down, honestly. We're a lot more programmed than some of the stuff that I've been reading, you know.
Yeah, we think for ourselves way less. We rely on technology, which makes us, you know, lazy. We don't challenge our intellect. Like, when's the last time you drove around without your GPS on? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's just we have to actively seek challenge. You know, I'm not trying to be condescending. It's tough. I mean, it's one of the biggest challenges is finding ways to challenge yourself, because challenge doesn't come as easily as it used to. You know,
I say get out of body. That's the hardest. Like, come on, man, that's a challenge, right? Get to a vibratory state, peel yourself out of body, and then just keep exploring further. Most people are like, what? You're a fucking lunatic, you know? That's
such a challenge. It's too challenging for me. I need to figure out a process to try to get into that state, because I do want to try it.
Well, it's hard. Like you have to. What I've realized is you got to be healthy. Mm-hmm. You have to be balanced to get into that state. You know, like hard it is to stay balanced. That's what hypnagogic is. It's the in between state. It's like the middle pillar of the mind, right? Like, don't fall asleep, but stay awake. No. Don't fall asleep, but stay awake.
It's consciousness edging.
Yeah, right. And it's just like this thin line where all this cool shit happens, but you're like, then you come out of it and you're like, well, what happened? And you
can't remember.
I don't know. Yeah, right.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. But if you have like a full OBE like experience, right? What I call the etheric experience, it is not a dream. There's nothing that you don't remember. Nothing. If you slip into a dream, that's another thing. You can do that, though. I don't do it much anymore. I tried again last night, and I instantly became paralyzed, right? To the point where I was just like, I think my heart stopped, right? So I started recording myself again like I used to, Owen. And I was like, am I snoring? Is this like, what do you call it?
Sleep apnea?
Yeah, because I'm overweight. I have apnea sometimes. Like I snore. You and I used to have snore fest, so you know this, like, right?
I think I do too.
Right, but I was recording. I didn't snore. It was just the paralysis. Like the vibratory state is when it slowly kind of sinks in, you know. and you're actually really awake as your body. But if your body just goes like if you're a hard sleeper, people that just, oh, I'm going to bed, and next thing you know, they're snoring like they're down. I think I'm moving into that sphere, which I'm very upset about because I don't want to be that person that just goes instantly unconscious,
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, I sleep like a rock, but I'm hesitant to like get one of those sleep apnea masks though.
Nah, yeah, that shit.
I mean, God, dude, I've heard people just talk about how I tried a mouthpiece one time because Brandon Powell told me, like what happens with our jaw because we don't, I don't know, eat the same diet. We don't chew as much. So our jaws like slip into like they slide down and basically block our airway is what he told me. So he told me to get a mouthpiece, but dude, it's like a fucking scuba snorkel
trying to sleep with a snorkel on.
Snore, yeah. It's like, this is awful,
Just snore,
It's just fucking so uncomfortable. Yeah. You can't go to sleep. I dare you to be able to go to sleep. I mean, you'd have to be on, it's hard to go to sleep.
You'll find if you find the right partner anyways, they'll just tell you it's cute until they're with you after a long time. Who gives a shit, right?
Go sleep in the fucking other room,
yeah,
dude.
like, get out of here.
I'm gonna starfish anyway, dude. Yeah. That's why I have 2 bedrooms.
I remember when we went to the event to speak with Grimerica, people were like, they were putting earplugs in because me and Owen was in the same room. And I was like, I don't hear shit. It doesn't bother me, So you should just leave us there because it don't bother me because I'm used to it. Right, I grew up around someone was snoring all the time, so it kind of puts me to sleep a little bit. But also, if I get down to a certain weight, I won't snore. Period. Like it just won't happen.
Yeah, definitely. The more healthy you are, I think, the less you're gonna have breathing. But my grandmother used to have it so bad, dude. She would just like shake the house, and then. Yeah, she would be so loud, and then all of a sudden she would just stop.
That's scary, right? Like, hey, did you stop breathing? Like,
exactly, dude. Every time it happened, I would be like, oh my god, and it'd be like minutes and minutes, and I'd be like, I need to go check on her, and then I go in there to go check on her. As soon as I went in there, like just immediately, just. Like an alien jumped out of her chest. It's just so loud and just scary. But yeah, it's annoying. But
what law would that file under?
I'm pretty sure that's vibration.
Yeah, right. It's vibration. Which one's your favorite? Which one do you like talking about the most?
Maybe mentalism and maybe polarity are two of my favorites of the laws. But I mean, it all comes back to mentalism. That's really the place to start. Everything begins with a thought, and it has to be a thought first before it can come into existence. We don't build a sandcastle and then think, I should build a sandcastle.
Yeah. You don't start crying until you have a thought. Too. A lot of people don't know that. Even some girl, I've been around some girls that are like, why are you crying? They're like, I don't know, but it's like, I wish we could do that. Did I send you that thing where dudes don't cry or whatever? That you got to watch that. It's funny. But like, if you talk to them, if you're like, all right, hug them, whatever, till they stop crying, then start asking them, what were you thinking about? Whatever. Then they know. Like you had a thought. You thought about something.
Right.
That made you sad. It's not the other way around.
Mm-hmm.
No, well, then should I do everything from my mind or my heart? I'm like, well, you're thinking brain and heart, like, right? So it's kind of the same thing. And in fact, I think they've found brain cells in our mind and in our intestines and in our heart. We have a small amount of brain cells in our heart system too.
Cool.
Yeah. So the mind is a whole other subject of like, a lot of people think brain, don't they? When you think mind.
Right. But no, the mind is not in the body is in the mind. That's what Eileen Day McCusick says, and I fucking agree, because we got that toroidal field thing going on. That's our aura and stuff, electromagnetic field. I believe that. I'm pretty sure that's scientifically proven too. That's a thing. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think, and it makes sense with like what we were talking about before, the elements of the psyche, of our own psyche, kind of coming out in those forms.
Yeah, I wish everybody would go to your YouTube channel and watch that video you did on unconditional love. Like, I don't, love is not some people just run from that subject. I don't. It's the best thing on the planet. Love is the best thing that we have going for us, right? And when you are in love, or when you have a lot of love in your life, you're just happier. You're more alive. Your life becomes an adventure instead of a fucking prison, you know? Things are different when you have love in your life. And yet, listening to you kind of talk this philosophy about unconditional love while a person's trying to individuate is a kind of a form of alchemy, wouldn't you say? Going through those principles.
I would think so. Absolutely.
You struggle with it all the time. I saw, like I was telling you on your show, I saw a thing today. What made Psychology Today? It's one of my favorite online magazines to read, right? What makes a low quality or high quality person? Right. So now we have magazines telling us at the first thing that popped up on our phone if we're a high quality or low quality person. Psychology Today, who has all this money and all this stuff, had 3 things on there. 3 things. Does a person lack empathy, and are they a habitual liar? End of article. It doesn't take a genius to figure that stuff out, right?
Do we really need people to point this out?
Yeah. So, but at the same time, I don't think we should be asking Psychology Today if we're a good person or not, either. But we do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we seek authority, even though authority is completely made up. It's a fake thing. It's not real, at least in this realm.
Respect my authority.
People pretending. But yeah, I mean, my whole message is love is all there is. I mean, we're resolving into the infinite consciousness, ultimately, eventually. Some parts of this might suck and probably will, and other parts are going to be awesome, and that kind of balances out. There's compensatory forces at work there. They say in the Kybalion that you have the capacity for pleasure and equal amount to the capacity for pain. And a lot of other books would reflect that too. A lot of people who are creative maybe have a deep connection, and you sense certain things about the world. You have sensitivities, and yeah, that's a gift. But you'll also be able to, it says in the Kybalion, be able to experience the other side of that. So that whole law of paradox it's everywhere, dualism, polarity, basically.
You're going to experience that. I think that has a lot to do when people say karma too. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get paid back for something you did bad all the time. It might mean that you're going to get to experience both sides of the equation,
And the Kybalion says that you go down before you go up.
Interesting.
That's what it says.
I'm acting like I don't know the Kybalion says, but interesting.
But yeah, no, that should be encouraging.
Yeah. Well, it does explain it too, in a sense, why that happens. It's a pressure system, really. It has to, it has to. You can only suffer so much. Things, and I was telling this to Gareth, as a guy that listens to the show. He was diagnosed with ALS. We're really good friends with him, and I hope that in the next life that we're best buddies, man, because this guy is cool. But imagine being trapped in your own body. You can't. Every day you lose the ability to use your body the way that you normally would until you don't breathe right anymore and you die. What the heck? I mean, why would creation why would that exist? Now we could get into like the morality of that, or perhaps the soul wanted to experience the transformation of that, even though it sounds I know this sounds completely fucked up, okay? But perhaps the soul wanted to experience both. But regardless, everything's going to transform. And that's what I told him. I said, no matter how much your suffering is going to get, the pressure will not be there forever. You'll transform. Energy has to go somewhere. Even like when we die, you know, we transform. Our bodies can't take the stuff anymore. We transform into something else. We just don't know what the hell that is. I personally think we just pop out another vagina. Like there's no heaven or hell. We just wake up crying again going, what the hell's going on? Recycle.
Yikes. Yeah.
That's a horrifying thought, isn't it? Right?
Kinda, you know, it kind of is.
We're stuck, damn it. Or like it's not, it's a horrifying thought.
I mean, I love it here. I love it. Please, yeah, don't throw me in the briar. But no, I think that's kind of likely. I think the Kybalion says that reincarnation is a thing. But there are ascended masters and stuff like that. So it's quite possible that you move up in the scale of consciousness to where you don't have to incarnate as a human anymore. You could be some like I don't know, weird lizard or something. Speaks a crazy language from Glip-Glorp, or, you know, maybe
if you could
be
reincarnate as any person, who would you be? Like if you could go back in time and reincarnate into a person, who would you be?
Man, that's tough.
I'd be Elvis, dude.
Yeah, that's smart.
I would be Elvis. I want to experience that Elvis life. I don't care if I die on the toilet. I just want to experience it.
I mean, yeah, that sounds pretty hedonistic, probably. Pretty fun. A lot of pleasure. A lot of fun.
A lot of pissing people off.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody thought he was Satan, right? But he changed the music game.
Yeah, he did.
Prominent hedonistic.
Well,
damn, dude, you just put a hamper on the whole thing, dude.
Hell no, dude. I'm not judging. I was gonna say somebody like Ralph Waldo Emerson, but I'm like, do I really want to sit around a fucking lake? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
a lot of people say like Alan Watts or someone like that. Alan Watts was super intelligent. A lot of people loved him, but the truth is he was miserable. Drank himself to death. You know?
He did. Yeah. One of my biggest heroes is Robert Anton Wilson. I just absolutely love his work.
Really?
Huge fan. Yeah. But I wouldn't say that I want to live his life.
Sure.
That's tough. You know, somebody who is just rich and not famous. I want their life. You know?
That would be even better.
You know, some anonymous rich person who has, you know.
I have a thing with money that I'm like struggling with. Oh, and you're gonna have to do a coaching session with me to help me.
Yeah, well, we both probably need some coaching on that.
I have not found any, like even the people have come into my life and they're like, you just need to change your ideas about money and it's all love and da da da. Those people turn up to be some pathological
they're the shadiest motherfucking ones. They're the ones who will steal money off your coffee table while you're taking a nap.
Yeah,
you know?
or if they've helped you out in any way with money, they think that they've owned you or something. You know, it's like I have not yet seen. I am sorry for any list. I've not yet seen any great thing come from money. I just haven't. The only great thing that comes from it is the ability to do things and a freedom. But as far as like how people are, just haven't seen it, you know.
I think it just amplifies who people already are. You know, it's like, that's all. It's not, it doesn't make people bad. It's not evil. The love of money is bad, you know. But really, I think I like the way that Transurfing approaches money because it's a byproduct. And, you know, from the perspective of a lot of that old Hindu stuff and the Bhagavad Gita of action and taking action for the sake of action, the pleasure in the action, like really overlaps. And I think thinking of most of our goals as certainly attainable, but attainable through process of specific action without outcome attached to that action makes it a lot easier to attain. So it's really leveraging action without expectation in order to really make some make some changes and put the process in place, and then the goal comes about naturally. So like specific money goals to me are kind of off-putting.
Yeah, like why are you? Yeah, really.
It doesn't mean that you shouldn't be like, hey, here's my budget, I need to make this much or whatever. I'm not saying don't be practical about how much finances there are, but
you mean like why do you like? What's the purpose of having the money? Like what
right. Well, that's a great question there, right? Like for most people, it's going to be security, right? It's going to be emotions. That's the purpose. They think that if they have this money, then they'll be secure or feel better. So that's what they're actually seeking. So I think that's a great question to ask yourself too. What is it that you are really wanting? What will the money do for you psychologically if you have it? Is it going to make you feel better, more secure, more able to help people, right? And because those are really the things to focus on.
That's the only reason why I could see myself wanting money is just to be like, you know, you want this here. That's it. Just to see how people light up. You know, other than security, but you know what I mean? Like if there's no, that's just for me personally though. But I've also had money too, bro. And I know you have, like at some point I've had it and like I've had money, I've had a good amount of money. And the IRS will tell you that they hate me. They were after me for once. But my point is like, what was my fucking point? Oh, my point is like, it doesn't even, dude, I wasn't fulfilled. I realized, you know, it was another moment in my life that I realized is like, is this all there is? Like when Scarface was talking, is this what we do? We make a bunch of money, we get fat, we eat, go to bed, fuck whatever, you know, wake up again, do it all over again. You know, when he was saying that, right? And it's like, so, okay, so I understand these people just want a cozy little place to have sex and go to sleep and eat food. And not have to worry about losing all that. Let's just be honest, right? That's security. That's what they want. TV, all that shit.
Right.
Just wasn't enough for me.
It's not enough. It's not enough.
It wasn't enough for me.
It's not enough for anybody. Yeah, I mean, well, I think it's really ultimately about fulfillment. And there's many ways to make money and learn and different things. You know, like I run a cleaning business during the day, and it's not like very glamorous to have to sit here and do shit on the computer and answer the phone. And that's pretty much my day and coordinate things with people. But it's an asset and it's a business, and all businesses are businesses. And there's going to be processes that you have to learn in any business, regardless of what it is that the business is in the business of, right? Like you have to sell, you have to have leads, you have to have customers, you have to retain them, no matter what business that you're in. If you're selling cleaning services or massage therapy or, you know, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. So it's a good thing, I think, for people to put themselves out there and learn these things, no matter what they're trying to pursue. Because I think the more that you actively try things and just take action, the closer you get to that fulfillment. It's about trying things. You got to try stuff.
Damn it. Owen you sound like a big party. I'll tell you right now, I like, if I want to go to a party, I want to take Owen with me.
Dude,
right?
I am fun at a party.
Yeah.
You do want to take me with you.
You know, like, except that one time I took you to like, we went to some night. It was like, that's kind of when we realized we were older, you know? I went to this nightclub in Daytona Beach, and it's nothing but just flat out 21-year-olds, maybe the whole time, right? That's who was there, maybe 21-year-olds, whatever. And it's, you know, it was cool, but you start looking around and you start feeling like people kind of looking at you like, what the fuck are you doing here? You know? So I want to go to, maybe Europe is different. I'd like to go to Ibiza just before I turn 45 or something and just rave out really hard, you know, take enough Molly to where I feel like I'm going to die and then just be done with it. Just one last time, you know?
Oh, that's funny.
That's hedonism. See, I have a problem with hedonism, I guess, because, you know.
Dude, I don't think there's anything wrong with pleasure. I didn't say that in any critical way, but It's just like it made me reevaluate my decision because I was going to pick some prominent figure who probably had a very boring life and read a lot of fucking books and shit. And, you know, and if I'm going to pick somebody's life that I get to live, I don't mind getting knowledge, and that's what I do now. So other things are maybe a little more appealing could be even more fun. And I like fun. I'm like you said, I'm a fun guy. I like to have a good time. I definitely want to go to a party. Elvis might be a little much. That's a lot. It's just a lot of limelight and attention. I would be exhausted from that.
I just want to go up there and do a dance that freaks everybody out. And they're like, "Oh, what the hell was that?" And be like, "Yeah. I'm shaking shit up around here."
Just be controversial.
Yeah, just to be that controversial figure. Just to have people go, because maybe that's the Aquarius energy. I mean, I don't know. I don't like the status quo. And the more I talk to you about this, I don't like any of it. I don't like all the shit that's online that talks about, well, this is what a real woman is, or this is what a real man is, and this and that. And it's like, shut the fuck up, Shut up.
It will never end either.
I'm so sick of it, dude. Like,
let's talk about dating, Joe.
Just be yourself and fuck it. Like, who cares what these people, who cares what people think? It's not high school. I don't understand this shit. Mm-hmm. I feel like the internet is trying to bring us back to high school all the time. That's what I feel like.
That's a good take. I like that. I agree.
Like, especially the relationship stuff and that people just trying to evaluate this shit all the time. It's just like, just go, stop trying to control everything. Go be yourself. If people want to fucking leave, let them leave. Like, just be free, right? And I'm not saying it from a 60s or 70s, like, let's spread another STD. That's not what I'm talking about. I just mean, like, let's who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Right.
It sounds very secure attachment of you.
Well, I mean,
that's the big thing now.
I like feminine stuff. Doesn't make me a man. Like, I like to cry sometimes. Sometimes I might wear purple and sing a Prince song. I don't give a shit. I'll still whoop your ass if you mess with me. Like, what does that mean? Oh, you're not a man. You're not a woman. You're like, well, who gives a shit about all that stuff? Or you're nice. You're kind. You must be one of those nice guys. No, I'm nice until you fuck with me. Then I'll whoop your ass. Right? Like, but this is my point. Before I lose it, because I get frustrated with this stuff, bro, is like, there's this modality that's always trying to categorize everybody and figure shit out. And I want it to go away, because I feel like we're missing out on so much exploration of the self because of it. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like it's a limit. It's like a cage. It's like keeps us thinking in a box. Keeps us thinking less creatively.
Yeah.
I need to get out in the woods more. That was the one thing.
Well, you did that. You did the rafting thing.
I know, right? But I still need to get out, and away from Wi-Fi for a day or two here and there. I think it's good for you. I don't know.
No, that's a problem. Mary was talking about that last night, actually. Get out
just
in
get
nature.
away from for a day or two here and there, I don't know. It's just it's so prevalent. I don't know. I'm not like saying, oh, it's bad, but it's like, yeah, just get away from all the stuff.
We got to take the radio station break, but when we come back, I do want to dive deeper into the Kybalion, because it's like, I really feel like if we're going to categorize things, we shouldn't be putting people in them. We should just leave those things in nature, right? Like, really studying nature. What does that mean? Natural law, nature, hermetics, and things like that. And how do they run together? That's kind of what I want to talk about when we get back. If I don't go on another narcissistic rant, before it's all over. But yeah, it's good to have you on here, man, because I talk to myself a lot of these nights in the chat room.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out with us. Hopefully we'll get some people to call in. I love that aspect of the show, so I encourage people to call.
Phone lines are open, 501-777-56 investment that has built-in advertising to attract local customers in parking lots, rallies, gatherings, conventions, venues, and more. You could potentially sell these bumper stickers on consignment to local businesses, tattoo parlors, head shops, or any other independently owned store that might gear toward the fringe. Bumper stickers are great gift-giving ideas for friends and family. Also, a way to wake up your fellow travelers on the path without having to waste energy in tiresome debates. No car? No problem. Bumper stickers will stick to just about anything with a semi-smooth surface. Go to www.justbsme.com and get your bumper stickers today.
Have you ever wondered, what do the stars say for me? Or, will the next month or the next year be more favorable? How about, are our two signs compatible? Each month, at the new moon, you can ask these questions live with me, your astrologer psychic, Mary DeCina, along with host of Lighting the Void, Joe Root. Join us at the new moon for Cosmic Conditions. We look forward to working with your energy.
Every new moon at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on Fringe FM.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You're listening to Lighting the Void Radio.
When I step into the lines, my eyes searching wildly. Would you not like to be sitting on top of the world with your legs hanging free? Would you not like to be okay? When I'm walking by the water, splish splash, me and you taking a bath. When I'm walking by the water, come up through my toes, to my ankles, to my head, to my soul.
Dude, that was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. It was like a Dave Matthews show, man. It sounds. I don't know what it is. Like a lot of people. There's some people that can't stand Dave Matthews, right? But I don't know what it is, dude. I have a blast when I go to his like shows and stuff, man.
I was a huge Dave Matthews fan, high school and college. Went and saw him a bunch of times, and then for years and years, because like all my friends were listening to like heavy rock or heavy hip hop, crazy shit, I had to pretend like I never told. It was like a secret.
You never told them.
Pleasure of mine. It was like what do they call it? A guilty pleasure, Dave Matthews. But then a couple of years ago, randomly, my brother got tickets for us to go on my dad's birthday to a Dave Matthews concert, and it
blew his mind, didn't it?
Well, for me, it was a great show, but for me specifically, it was like accepting a part of myself that I had hidden. So it was like really integrative, and it was really what we were talking about,
individualistic,
recapitulation, like having a lot of those memories come back, and those parts of myself that I had kind of shoved deeper down into my psyche, and allowing those to come back up to the surface.
Yeah. The last one I went to, bro, was in Memphis in May. We're here with Owen Hunt, by the way, if you're just tuning in live here on the Fringe FM, right? At bootsygreenwood.com. We're live, and you can call into at 501-777-5631 if you want to call in. I have the ringer in my ear. Owen can give you some coaching, or you can ask any questions that you want, whatever you want here. But I remember when I went to Memphis in May, it was like I was 19 years old, and Dave Matthews was there, and it was one of the first times that I passed out in the lawn. Like, all I remember was everybody wearing like glow sticks and how you could buy those rings and glowy stuff, and I was stoned out of my gourd, and we took some acid too. And I remember just like having the best freaking time, like dancing with everybody. Like it was some kind of weird dream almost, And I was there with a friend of mine, Sarah, and we became more than friends later, but we were friends then. And then my buddy Aaron and a couple other people. I just remember like waking up later and everybody was gone. Imagine just laying in a field and you wake up and everybody's gone. And it was like this freakiest thing. I was like, where the hell did everybody go? Right? Almost like I felt like a little kid that got left, out in the middle of a field. Mm-hmm. But there isn't anything. This is what I was talking about music, right? There isn't anything that makes me think about not only that time, but that kind of feeling that I had, other than that music, right? Music is the only thing that makes me feel that way. So where would that be under, like vibration or correspondence or all of it? See, I think we try to categorize stuff when it could be a lot of different things,
Well, the Kybalion even says that like every law is reflected in the other laws. It's that much of a mind fuck, Yeah.
It's a matrix of natural laws, right?
Right. And the way that they spell it out is really cool. And then there's other books that spell it out. I think a lot of the same ideas, but they just use different words, just different metaphors and things like that. But all these reflect, it's like Napoleon Hill's book, Outwitting the Devil. Oh my God. That book is amazing. And he has his 7 laws written out, and his are defined differently, but he's explaining all the same stuff.
Yeah. His is the biggest one I remember about that book is the law of like the devil's law of hypnotic rhythm.
Yeah. That's such a good. Yeah.
He talks about smoking and it's natural to charge and discharge and stuff. So the devil tries to bring you into these things where you're doing that instead of exploring yourself consciously. You're just caught in these, hypnotic rhythm states all the time.
Yeah, like you're drifting. You're never actively in control of your own brain, your own awareness. You're not driving, and that's what he's talking about. Is he gets everyone through drifting.
When you think about society today, right? Like, let's take politics. Let's take the stupid thing I don't care about, Trump.
I don't care either.
Trump and Biden. It's like watching the worst WWF shit. Whatever. But if you look at the 7 Hermetic Principles, what's going on there? I mean, obviously polarity is one of them, but what other laws are going on there?
Well, there's rhythm there. The swing to the right is equal to the swing to the left. You know, you see it. You look back at history and how people vote and all that stuff. The pendulum's there 100%. It's polarizing people and taking energy from both sides, positive and negative. Cause and effect. The politicians are at the cause and we're at the effect. If we would reverse that, we'd be at the cause and they would be at the effect. And maybe some societies have had that where the public servants served the public because they were at the effect and they were like, if we don't do our jobs, these people are going to shoot us or put our heads on stakes. But we don't do that. So I would say probably all of them, you know, honestly.
I think polarity is the biggest one. Obviously.
Polarity, yeah.
You know, when this, like, if I take everything back to the tree, right? If you took the first politicians, what were they? They were in the middle. They were Democratic Republicans. That's what they were called. Democratic Republicans. So you have red and blue, all in one person. Imagine that. You know, imagine that concept. And somehow or another, something came along. It's like, let's just divide this shit and let's cause some conflict here.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you know how to use that conflict, and one of the things that the Kybalion talks about is the law of state transference, mental states, that people are going to pick up on that, and that you can use these principles and ideas to not just change your own mind in the principle of mentalism, but you can also change other people's minds. And certainly we're under countless spells.
Yeah.
An unbelievable amount. So it is obviously very true. I think the point is to kind of create your own spell.
Right.
Learn to do that.
We're doomed. This country's doomed. I'm just saying we are.
I think it was a long time ago. Yeah. It would be maybe a smart, I don't know. I think there's a small window to still make some things happen, but I think it's closing quick. Honestly, Costa Rica sounds nice.
Yeah, right. Well, it's one of those things where I feel like anytime you try to categorize yourself, anytime you don't understand the balance of things, or anytime the whole idea of the magical process in the psyche is, even in gender, is bringing the masculine and feminine together inside you too. Mm-hmm. So while you're watching, either as a woman, all these videos about how you should be a better woman and more feminine, or even as a dude, you're watching all these videos about how you're not man enough, and yet you've got who you really are fighting on the inside this shit all the time until you decide. What I'm saying is you have to take that Christ-like thing where the world's going to put you up on a cross and say, you're not this, that's totally different. You can't be this. You see what I mean? Or we'll kill you, we'll destroy you, whatever. And that's what the whole freaking story of Tiferet and the tree and Christ is. It's when you come into unification with yourself and you can't deny it anymore. You can't go back and play their game anymore, you know.
Well, people don't really know what they want. Really, it's all a distraction, you know? I just feel like it's such a distraction. I'm guilty of it myself, so I'm not trying to hate, but it's like, oh, if I just get this partner, or if I this thing or this or whatever, but it's like, man, it's just another illusion to chase, you know? Just try to truly become better, and then you'll get better things. It's kind of like the money thing, where it's like, if you chase money directly,
yeah, it's a
nightmare.
How
is that going to work out for you? Not well.
It's a nightmare. It's just like if you try to chase love directly, it's a nightmare.
But it's also a byproduct, right?
Or you're going to attract the same toxic, needy kind of. I don't want to say needy. That's stupid. I hate that phrase because we all need companionship in our life. Most of us do. But what I mean is if you're following that suffering line of the natural fear of, well, I'm going to be alone, I'm going to die alone, and I don't know anybody, and no one's ever going to love me before I die, which does happen to some people. You know what I think? I think a lot of times, honestly, I think we should spend more time with old people and children. Just spend time. Go see the difference between an old person's life when they have family that cares about them or a partner or whatever, and another old person that's about to die that not only is getting used for their money, but no one gives a shit about them, and they've thrown them off the side of the cliff, right? Like, we need to see that so we realize our fear is natural when it comes to this thing. And then when we go experience this thing, when people go, well, you should be happy all by yourself. Yeah, of course, obviously. But if we don't set love at a high importance, we could end up like that, or someone we care about could end up like that. You see what I mean? It's not as set as high as how much am I going to make financially, or where do I stand politically, who am I psychologically, or what about my career? What about the people in your life? You see what I mean?
Absolutely. The people in your life, that's the true riches.
Yeah.
Hint, hint. Just saying.
Yeah.
Right? Because it can't get better than that.
Yeah.
It's like the Dave Matthews concert. You're hanging out in the grass with your people, dude. What's better?
I'm the kind of person that evaluates everything. Like, I love people and relationships and stuff. And I like to keep those things as close to me as possible and not have the outside categorizations of everything ruin it.
Mm-hmm.
Call me crazy.
Yeah. There's just so much noise out there. I've been watching a lot of the dating stuff. I'm fascinated by it because I think, we are wired on a biological level, and then we live in this society that's completely different than our wiring. And I think we've been sold a lot of false truths about romance and how the dynamics of nature interact, So it's been interesting.
False truth.
It's pretty interesting.
Like you're treating you're either treating yourself as if you're not a human, or you're treating someone else as if they're not a human. Right? Well, that's a woman, so they're supposed to be overly emotional. Not necessarily. Or that's a man, he's supposed to be just logical and not have emotions. Yeah. It's like, where do you come up with this shit? Like, these are humans. These are human beings, man. They have all of that.
Yeah.
Like, a man has certain things that he can do that a woman don't, and vice versa. And they have that's it. That's the only difference.
Well, we're supposed to be complementary.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the truth of the matter. And it's just doing a war divide. It's just bullshit, dividing people and putting them into categories, and this person that, or these men ain't shit, or whatever. It doesn't change anything really. Ultimately,
it's the red pill community that bothers me. Or honestly,
I don't like the red pill community.
I got friends in it, but
not because it's not because they're really wrong about a lot of that stuff. It's because they just can't accept the truth. Just accept it. I guess they call it red pill because they're never going to swallow the fucking thing.
Well, I see all these podcasts.
Swallow it.
Where they're going again. They're like, well, why do you have they're just ridiculing these women that are pretty much don't even share the same values as them.
Right.
So these women that have OnlyFans, or they're sleeping with people for money or whatever. So they're bringing these people on the podcast, totally annihilating them, and then trying to act like, well, this is the problem with society, and it's like, why don't you bring a woman on the podcast that has the same values that you do, that you think that don't exist, right? Because you're still coming from a fear, you're still coming from a lack mindset. There are billions of people in the world, right? Like, you're coming from a lack mindset that there's not going to be anybody that you relate to at all, right? Sure, a woman is going to have a menstrual cycle and be a little bit more emotional than you, whatever, but the idea that you're going to try to control them and turn them into something and teach them a lesson about what they really need to think about, it's bullshit, man. Let the girl go do what she wants to do. Let her learn her own lessons. Maybe that's what she wants to do, and go focus on finding somebody that shares your values, and stop trying to teach everybody a lesson. It pisses me off, honestly.
Well, I mean, it works because of the polarity. It works because there's friction. It works because it's controversial, and you know, people are going to take sides. That's what makes it popular. The middle path is not as flamboyant.
It's not as fun. It's it's boring.
Yeah,
There's no fight there.
The truth is available. Yeah. Freely fucking available. Anyone can have it, but most people are going to turn their nose up at it because it's not entertaining enough.
Yeah. I mean, like the truth, if you followed in my opinion, if you followed the Kybalion let's say you're a man, being masculine doesn't necessarily mean, in my opinion, making a bunch of money and being chiseled. But it does mean like going after what you want, right? Like stop being afraid of what you want. Just go after it. Do what you want. Like vibrate a little higher and love will come into your life. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to do whatever. You can be as picky as you want to be. It's the same thing for women, right? Be as feminine as you want to be. Stop trying to be cool and shit. Whatever it is you're trying to do, be as feminine as you want to be. Have as much fun as you want to have, and love will come into your life. It'll just happen. Like I'm not saying there's some kind of weird woo thing going on. It just happens that way. You know, it's almost like the lust for results kind of thing, you know, that whole thing. We have a caller that looks like 503 area code. You're on the air. Who are we speaking with?
Hey guys, it's Jamie. How y'all living?
Oh yeah, what's up, man?
Just another day in the fucking heat wave that is sweeping across the Northwest right now. Up at 104 today.
Well, what's on your mind?
Yeah, shit, man. I was just listening to you guys over on Owen's stream, and I just had a couple of questions about delineating versus discerning. Like, how would you necessarily describe focusing on like where you're at currently versus where you are headed or where you're trying to head? Like, you got into that a little bit on the last show.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I've been having a lot of like orange and magenta popping up for me recently, a lot of seemingly discordant, like dissonant, like disjointed dreams.
What do you say, Owen? What do you
where
think?
that may fall on the tree.
Oh, you want to know where it falls on the tree? Magenta and
yeah.
Magenta's like that pinkish color, right? Pinkish. I don't want to get my colors wrong here. And orange. Oh, I think that you're to me, only to me. So you have Hode in the sun, right? So you're struggling with like what you really want to be and where you want to be, who you want to be, not just where you want to be, but who you want to be, and the mind. So there's the mind is this place of knowledge and formulas, and this is the way things are supposed to be in communication and intellect and logic and Hode, right? That's fear. And then you have the sun. There's a path between there that's probably bringing these colors in, that where your mind is getting in the way. See, what you need to do to balance this out is bring more pleasure and emotion into your life. Somewhere. I don't know if it's nature, fun, whatever it is. That should be the way back to that childlike energy. The mind seems to be getting in the way. Yeah, man, I'll tell you.
Fucking cutting meat in a slaughterhouse at 104 degrees, it does not bring childlike wonder.
Doesn't bring you joy, does it? Why the hell are you doing it? Because you need to make money, right? Because you need to pay bills. Balance that out with something that brings you happiness, and then find another fucking job. Get away from it. It doesn't make you happy.
Well, that's the thing about it. I mean, this plant doesn't make me happy per se, but I got a job lined up in Pennsylvania, and I'll be taking a trip from Oregon to Pennsylvania in August to go out and meet them, and then hopefully uprooting my life and fucking getting done with the 3 decades I've spent here and heading out east.
Hey, do you have like weird dreams?
Shop.
By the way, I always wondered about like, so what are you, a butcher? You're in like cutting meat all the time?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have weird dreams from
right
that?
now? What was that?
Do you have weird dreams from that sometimes?
Not necessarily. I don't work on the kill floor. I'm not an abattoir. I'm a butcher, so I'm working with the carcasses after they're cold. But even so, at this plant that I'm at currently, I don't get very much experience, like actually cutting and working with the carcasses. I'm more like producing sausages, making bacon, working the meat grinder, like the more menial tasks per se, that are a little bit more detail oriented, because it's essentially a full Mexican workforce, and I'm one of two white dudes that work on the floor. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just not easy to read detailed instructions for spice kits in a second language per se, or shit like that. So I kind of got stuck in the more monotonous, like, drudgery side of the processing plant.
I can hear it in your like energy too. You get that? You getting that vibe, Owen? Like, just you need to have some fun, bro. You need to like have some fun. Make yourself have fun somehow. Like something.
Yeah, man.
Go to the beach. Get the hell. Just get in the car and drive. Just fucking drive. Turn up the radio
for sure.
You know. That sounds. I'm sorry that you're having to go through all that.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It's been a fucking Sisyphusian cycle, and an Ouroboros hamster wheel, as I have told Owen. Like, it's not a fun fucking place to be, but I got to keep the lights on for the time that I'm living under these lights anyhow. But next week I'll be going and checking out different Owen Cook on my birthday, and then the day after I'll be going out to get a nice Spanish dinner with one of my buddies at one of the nicer restaurants in town, and hopefully next weekend I'll be able to get out to a lake or something, man. But it's been a fucking very, very uphill, repetitive battle for sure.
You got anything you want to add, Owen, on that? Like,
I 100% concur with Joe. I'm excited for you too, because you're going to learn a lot when you go and check out that dude's seminar, and you'll have a lot of fun with your friends. But it's a barrage. It's a lot of information. But I know Jamie was with us at Contact at the Canyon.
Really?
The first one in Arizona, yeah. So
no, it was the one in Shasta. It was the dude that was walking around ripping the bong.
Oh yeah. I know who you are. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. Well, dude, you're like family to us, and I hate to hear that.
Sober of that.
But no, I mean, getting out here, I'm excited for you to see how the job works, or the possibility of something different, dude. And no, you're on the way to doing some new things. I agree with Joe, man. It's hard to remember. It's easy to get bogged down. We got to remember to have fun. And I mean, that's the thing that he will teach you in that seminar, is how to turn the brain off and get out of your head. That's the biggest thing, is
Do you have
what
kids?
really holds most of us back.
Do you have children?
No, not yet.
Okay,
but I got a lady waiting for me out on the East Coast.
Listen, bro, you probably should evaluate the shoulds too. What I mean by that is, it's depression and anxiety is at an all-time high in this country. So do me a favor and go over all the things that you're telling yourself that you should do. And are they really coming from you? I should pay the bills, and I should keep my lights on, and I should have a bunch of money, and I should have kids, and I should go to college, whatever it is you're telling yourself. And make sure that's coming from your heart. And if it is, fine. But if it's not, it's going to give you depression and anxiety. Because you could have it on the biggest adventure if you really want to. If you really wanted to. You could look at life as a whole freaking adventure and not have to worry about any of that. Now, I'm not saying don't do this or that. I'm just saying only just make sure that it's you that's answering those questions.
In regards to kids, man, and being in a relation, I'm lucky enough to have a lady that stayed by my side. You met her out in Shasta, Chelsea.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've had a rough year. She moved back east last year, and I've been out here by myself since and just fucking struggling to keep things afloat. But when I was a kid and everybody would ask me what I wanted to do when I grew up, the only thing that came to mind was to be the best husband and father that I could.
Hell
and
yeah.
So if that's been ringing around in my head since I was probably 7 or 8, I don't think that I would have held on to it if it wasn't from myself.
There you go, man. So nothing makes you happier than that idea of family, right? Like this being the good partner and having a child. So practice visualizing what it would feel like to have all those things till it makes you cry from joy. Then figure out what the adventure would be like to get to that place. Adventure. All right. And if it doesn't make sense, if you start telling yourself this is all fantasy, bullshit. Do daily rituals where you see these things. Make your life a ritual around this adventure of family. If that's what your heart really wants. And piss on what everybody else thinks. I say have a party with it, man. I don't mean drugs and that kind of party, but it could be a really, dude, it could be a magnificent, magical thing. And that's what children are. Actually, I've got one. I mean, he's old now. It wasn't as magical it was when he was a child, but you know. But he's working a job. He's laying pipe, right? He's doing a job he's doing a job I wouldn't want to do. But he loves to make money. He loves to have things. He's different than me, and that's okay. You know, as long as he's the one making those decisions. You know. I know when you have a partner, you got to consider the other person too. And if you're on different sides of the country, I know what that feels like as well. But to have someone still there with you is a blessing too. So maybe make sure that both of you can do that. Hell, I don't know. The times are tough, but you know, I don't know. Peter Pan didn't always have a good time trying to kill the hook either, but it was still an adventure.
Yeah, man, I hear that entirely. It's definitely been a hell of a journey to get to the point where it feels good and stable and exciting to reunite and to start building that life together, because it's been tumultuous, but you know, over the course of the fucking coming up on 3.5 years we've been together, and I'm ready for the page to turn and to actually start to get some of these things that we've dreamt about in action. You know, it's just like you were saying earlier, I have such a fucking tendency of letting my mind get in the way and sabotage me from actually taking action. And it's the age-old adage of paralysis by analysis, you know. Like, in these last few months of sobriety, I find myself and my cognition working in speeds that I haven't been able to muster in fucking years, because it's been 15 years of chronic use. You know, you saw the way that I fucking sucked that bong, dude. I was sucking that bong, goddamn pacifier.
Yeah, it'll do a number on you. And nowadays, I can't handle the weed. I'll have a freaking panic attack just hitting it a couple of times. I don't know how the hell. Like, I have to think that there's that's doing something to your brain chemistry, right? Like, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to preach at you either, but Owen could probably tell you how to transurf that. Although once I've seen Owen get down on the bong before, you know. So like,
yeah, man. I mean, I took a week off and then I went back to it, and then I said, nah, dog, I'm good on this shit. This is not weed. This is a fucking narcotic. This is not what it once was or what it was meant to be.
I've part like, dude. If anybody gets it, I do. I've done things that even Owen's looked at me. He's like, "You sure you want to do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" You know. So dude, like, I get it, yeah. Right? Go ahead, Owen. I'm sorry, brother.
No, I'm just saying, no judgment from here, man. I think people do whatever you want. I'm not trying to tell anybody either, but I do think it makes a huge difference for sure. Every little bit helps, even if it's just 5%, 3%. Think about what 3% is over the course of 5 years. Those little tiny bits add up. But yeah, man, get out there and fucking have a ripper of a night, bro.
Hold that vision of your happiness.
Have some
Fight
fun
for it, man. You know, if your brain starts getting away, just talk. Even if people think you're crazy, I do it sometimes.
That's the best part, because it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, like
fucking what do you call it? Socrates. I'll talk to myself. I'll have a thought that tries to sabotage what I'm doing or my ultimate happiness, and instead of getting mad at it, I'll say what my teachers taught me, like Liam, Thomas, Christopher, and others that taught me. And magic, they taught me this. Like, it's like talking to a demon. Hey, I appreciate what you're offering right now, but it doesn't really serve my purpose at the moment. You know.
You got to be careful when you're breaking up with a demon.
Yeah,
you know?
they don't like being they don't like being told that they're useless. You know,
they don't want to hear no.
Yeah, I fucking feel that. I definitely feel that. And for what it's worth, man, I think I'm going to be reaching out to you on an individual basis, on a one-to-one, and start working some of this stuff a little bit more intensively, because it definitely feels like I have some shit hanging over my head. You know, a couple of those actual demons that I've called in over the years. You know, my fucking field becomes so fluid, being all water. Like, I've just turned into a puddle with that fucking weed use, and it's just opened me up to all sorts of shit. And I just feel like, yeah, dude, there's definitely like some ancestral shit in there, some weird shit in regards to the way that my mom came into the world and the way that my dad was moving about the world. Like, my great-grandfather, the guy that my dad got his name from, died in the first war, and his wife fucking outlived 3 other husbands, so she might have been a fucking serial killer for all I know, dude. I never met my great-grandma, but like, yeah, there's some weird shit in the lineage for sure. And it all seemingly has a focal point over in Pulaski County, Kentucky, near the Mammoth Caves, which isn't too far from either of you guys. So it might be cool to get together and do a little triad group or a meetup or something out there.
Yeah, we're working on that stuff. We'll figure it out, man. But hey, look, Owen coaches me on stuff all the time. I swear, I call him in crises, and I still will to this day. You know, so I get it. But
yeah,
thanks,
man.
Stay in touch, dude, and like, you know, we want all the CAC family to stay in touch, even if we never do another CAC event again. Like, we bonded with everybody there, like, so everybody there's like family to us, you know.
Yeah, man. I definitely gotta get in contact with you one-on-one, Joe. I've been talking to Owen here and there, and I can't stress enough how much help, you know, both of you guys have been. When I can remember to tune in, and catch you on the live streams. It's been a while since I've called in, just because, like I was saying, I just fucking get in my head and get in my own way.
Oh, dude. Man, I'm the master of that. Trust me. You should see my room right now. I'm the master of it, but I don't give a shit. That's the difference. Like, I don't like, but I do understand the family thing, dude. I get it. Trust me. That, like, I'm one of those people that I can relate to that, because there's nothing more that I want in my heart than just that happy family and that happy partner and that happy home life. There's nothing. But I still struggle with a bit of hedonism here and there. Because I want to be Elvis too, you know. So it's kind of a battle.
Yeah, you could be a practical hedonist. I think that's possible.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it's like I was saying on the other stream in the chats. It's, you know, you were saying Hail Eris, but I don't necessarily see myself as a Discordian, but so much as a conscientious contrarian, and someone that has the ability to try their hardest to remain open and plastic and flexible in my beliefs and what I do hold in my mental space. It seems like there's been some epoxy in the plastic lately, and it's gotten a little bit stiff. So I do want to give you guys another thanks and really let you both know how much the work that you're both doing impacts me.
Oh, thanks, man. I mean, we both appreciate it for sure.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks for your call too, man. Call back sometime.
Yeah, brother. I won't let a year go by between this one and the next.
All right. All right. We'll talk to you, man. Take care.
All right. Cheers.
Good call, man.
Yeah,
I remember
dude.
him.
He's brilliant. He's brilliant. He is brilliant, man. That's the problem with smart people. We get in our way, you know. I shouldn't refer to myself as smart. I'm really not that smart. I read a lot because I need to be smarter. But, you know, people that think about stuff and ask questions, whatever. Yeah, it is a real battle, the whole getting in your head thing. And that's just it. We got to get out of our heads. There's ways to do it without drugs, by the by.
Yeah, and dude, like it can turn into a nightmare, because if you get into your head, other people will get into their head, and when there's nobody in the room saying, "Hey, that's enough." Like, let's just, you know, like, you have to be that person in the room of your head. Be like, let's shut all this down. I don't care how many demons are chirping at you. That's your kingdom. I know it sounds egoish, but it really is your story. It's your movie and your kingdom. You have just imagine that you have, even though it doesn't seem this way, but you have all the resources at your fingertips to get to where you want to go. It doesn't seem that way, but it's there. You know, it really is there. What lack is there besides the fact that eggs are $10 a crate right now?
Right. Yeah, no, and those things are always happening. I mean, I myself, to be clear, I'm looking for cracks in the dam, you know, ways to open it up and gain some steam and momentum and, you know, continue to do better, you know, succeed, whatever.
Dude, you're the fourth initiate, bro.
I know, right? That's pretty dope. Self-appointed.
Well, so were they. When you say you're the fourth initiate, in my mind, like, you did exactly what they're doing. You took spiritual initiative on something and did it.
Yeah.
You know?
I claimed false authority just like every other guru on the internet. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a fucking lie. It's a troll. No one has authority over you. Authority is an illusion. But, you know, unless we're talking about spiritual stuff, then I'm the fourth initiate. So
you're the fourth initiate. Right? There's only one place I've seen authority be like a good thing, and I wouldn't really call it authority. You know, personal authority is a good thing. I think having personal authority over yourself is a good thing. That's the Emperor card. Right? That's what that whole Emperor card means, is to have authority over yourself. You give no one else control over your mind. Nothing else controls your kingdom. There is no excuses. It's your kingdom. You have authority over yourself. Like Guy Ritchie is one of my favorite creators, right? He created Snatch and really cool, movies. And he wrote that. One of his favorite things is you have the authority to everything about your life is you. Even the things that you think that are bringing you suffering, you have the authority to allow how much it brings you suffering on a level, if you think about it, I would love a big breakfast though right now. Give me an example. I'd love a big breakfast right now. I would love. I haven't had any money lately, and I'm used to. Hell, when I lived in Daytona, if I wanted a big breakfast, I just go get one. Right, those days aren't happening right now. Things have shifted, but I have personal authority. If I really, really want a big breakfast, I can make it happen. I promise you. Mm-hmm. If I really, really want to go out and get an extra $20-$30 to go sit down and eat a big breakfast, I could do it. It just isn't important, or I'm letting other things in my mind get in the way, like victimhood or whatever. I could make my whole fucking day an adventure about that big breakfast, Peter Pan style, if I want to. But instead, we're spending most of our time looking at all the boundaries, right, and how bad things are. It's like that mentalism thing you were talking about, Don't you think, right? Like mentalism would be the barriers of my life that I'm putting in my mind are also the barriers that are showing up in my existence, or vice versa.
Our mind is designed to keep us safe and protect our brain, right? And so like it's just going to be like, no, don't. No, stop, comfort, safe, But once you break that open and you get out of your head, you turn into a crazy Tasmanian devil version of yourself that's completely unfiltered, that doesn't care, that's just themselves, The
Tasmanian devil of yourself. I like that.
It's just like you just totally take your mask off, ultimately, if you can get into a good state of mind emotionally, if you can use the law of mentalism to put yourself in a good vibration, then you will also transfer that vibration on to other people. They'll pick it up off of you emotionally. And then it's a lot easier to relate to them.
It's like that Beach Boys song, Good Vibrations. We all know what that song means.
I mean, dude, it seems woo-woo or whatever, but it's true. You can walk up to somebody and you know how they feel. They're broadcasting how they feel.
Yeah.
If somebody's down or angry or happy, you can feel it. And they can feel you too.
What's up, Lucas? Heya, he says. Man, I think you should keep doing these books. I'm trying to do audio books too. I did Anthony's books, the Hunt manual and stuff. It's a lot of work, so I give it to you, bro.
It is a lot of work. But I mean, yeah. I mean, honest to God, I'm trying to put stuff out there that I think could be helpful. I'm hoping that it could be, because like that was one of those books. So I am working on doing a couple more, and I'm just trying to figure out what to pick, because I want to work on, like I said, stuff that I think will be helpful. And yeah, like I said, I'm real proud of how this one turned out. I thought the production quality is, like I said, damn near perfect. I've gotten a lot better as an engineer, and then I think I did okay on the translation. I mean, there's a lot of things I could have done, and I don't know if they would have been.
Well, the one thing that I wonder about the Kybalion, and I want to ask you this, is like, first off, these rules are very observable, right? Like you could observe all of them to the point where you understand that they're real. So, is that real? Does that mean you should use them to your benefit, like to a point to where it can become, I think you could use anything to become evil, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, is if you really understood these laws the way they are, you could become a supervillain if you wanted to.
That's true.
You could. I'm not saying that's what you should do, but you could.
Well, if you don't learn it, you don't have the ability to choose whether or not. So it's not real. You're not really actively choosing a path if you don't know the material. So that's the first step. And then you can decide for yourself if you want to be a heel or if you want to be, you know, because there's heels out there. Yeah. I can promise you. I know very well. But what
does that mean? What does a heel mean? Like a super villain?
A villain, yeah. That's the villain in the wrestling world.
Gotcha. Okay.
Bad guy. They turn heel or whatever. But
Could
if
be
you don't know,
mass manipulator of all things.
I mean, yeah. You know, Solzhenitsyn says there's a line that cuts through the heart of every man, and we choose. But if you don't have the information, you can't choose. You can't be conscious if you don't.
Imagine that. What he just said, right? This is why we don't lie to people, right? Like, well, we do lie to people all the time, but lying with this hidden information, therefore you take someone's choice, you take someone's love away. That's why we don't like being lied to, because it takes our choice away. It takes our love away. Everything you're saying, dude, is so spot on. The illusions of authority and the illusions of these rules and laws. Like, I wonder sometimes if the Kybalion is the only laws. Just that's it, right? Like, that's the whole idea of the book, really, honestly.
I mean, you could make a case for it.
That's it.
You can certainly make a case for it. But I mean, there's so many. I'm not a purist on any book.
Sure.
You know, reality transurfing, Kybalion, whatever. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. Like I said, I love that Napoleon Hill Outwitting the Devil book. I think he does an amazing job. That whole idea of hypnotic rhythm, it's so observable and real that it hits you like a ton of bricks. The law of the environment that he talks about, but he just classifies things in his way. But I think
they didn't release that book for a long time, bro, because he claimed that he talked to the devil, and like they wouldn't release it until, like, I guess way after he died or something, right?
Yeah, they didn't release it until 2011, after his wife died. So she wouldn't allow it to be published while she was still living. He died a long time before that, but it's really because he lambastes the church, organized religion, basically all authority structures in that book as being the devil's little bitches, you know, pretty much. He's like, he even says, the devil even says in the book to Napoleon Hill, if you print this, it's like, I'm going to tell you all the answers, but if you print this, I own all the newspapers, I own all the media outlets, I'll destroy you, I'll wreck your life, you'll have a reputation that you'll never work again. You're done. It's actually the first book he wrote, because he talks about in the book how he was trying to get, well, maybe it was the second book he wrote, because he had already written Think and Grow Rich, or the first manuscript of it, but he was trying to like shop that book and get someone to publish it. And some weird thing happened where he met this news editor, but a gangster saw him leaving the office and tried to kill him, killed the editor. So he had to go like into West Virginia for like months and months, hiding from some outlaw that thought he was trying to drop the dime on him.
Man. It's like some weird law, right? That as soon as you start to become successful and original and think for yourself and get outside the hypnotic rhythm, this thing just, there's this like haterade vibration that happens, just that wants to take it out, you know?
Yeah, I was talking to Brandon Thomas about that today. It's like you first start out and the universe is like, oh yeah, what? Look at all these synchronicities. It's all lining up perfectly just for you, my sweet. And then, you know, you hit that next layer and there's challenges, and it's frustrating because it makes you want to quit sometimes, but.
Well, it did line up for you. You just have parts of yourself that affect things. Cause and effect is still a thing, you know. You can have synchronicities till the cows come home, but there's all these aspects of yourself that are still affecting all kinds of other things you're not paying attention to because you're focused on your manifestation at all times, you know, your godhood.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, we got to roll out. Jess is going to be on in a little bit. I think top of the next hour, but dude, I have been podcasting my ass off today. I streamed with Juan. You know, we took out Destiny 2. I got on your podcast and you came on mine. Like, bro, I'm happy. I'm happy for you, man.
I'm happy for you, man. I'm happy to be hanging out. It's great to hang out with you. And yeah, man, I'm excited. Great things are on the horizon. We can just keep working, keep moving through the challenges, the good times. It's awesome. It's about the network, and it's great to be connected, man.
Yeah, and can you tell everybody to where they can grab the easiest place to grab the book that the Fourth Initiate?
I think that if you go to any of the audiobook platforms and just type in Bootsy Greenwood, then it'll probably come up pretty quick. On YouTube, Bootsy Greenwood. On my website, bootsygreenwood.com, there's a store tab. You can grab it there. And like, it's free on YouTube with ads. And then if you want to go to patreon.com/bootsygreenwood, then there is a version without ads there that you can listen to, free of ads. And then if you submit a rating on any of the public platforms by the end of the week here in the next couple of days, and you shoot it over to me or a screenshot of it, then I'll be happy to hop on a call with you. I'll do a goal attainment strategy session with you for free for 30 minutes. We'll knock it out, whatever it is. Let's fucking go. I love it. I want to connect with people anyway. It's a good excuse to do that. But yeah, let's bring it to me. Let's make it happen. Let's rock. But yeah, bootsygreenwood.com. That's where I'm at. Bootsy Greenwood on all the platforms. Please check out the Kybalion and leave me a review. And yeah, go to Patreon. That's where the information is for the call link, or whatever calls. I'm saying stuff. I'm tired. I've been podcasting my ass off today too.
BootsyGreenwood.com.
Thanks, everybody.
I'll go check it out. We're gonna go out here. Good night, y'all. We love you. Sweet dreams. Give them a listen.
Here in Mission Control, the Flight Operations Director commented that he felt like
one of the saddest features of our modern world is being a product of rather materialistic civilization.
Emergency! A major catastrophe has occurred.
Was this the future you had in mind for us?
They must be smoky space.
Dust.
They must
be smoky space.
Dust.
Emergency.
One guy came in with a bag of
space. Dust.
We were all shocked and amazed, but everybody wanted to try it. So we all smoked. Didn't really get too high on it. We got a little giggly. And then from there, we just kept smoking.